Top 12, and here we have them on our screens. The TNT Australian player versus the Street Kirania here on your screen. What are your thoughts on Kirania and how he plays, Gelotris?
Yeah, we have the stats right on the screen. We have a 41% win rate for Kirania, a precision rate of 49%, 136 guesses at 4.5k or higher, and average guess time of 30 seconds, so a very quick-paced player.
Yeah, definitely a quick-paced player. Average guessing 5 seconds faster than our Swede here on screen. Still rocking the Santa hat, still rocking the Christmas vibes. I like it. The Swedish glasses on there as well. 78% win rate, incredibly well-playing player. I had the pleasure of meeting him at DreamHack this summer, and he's just all around a nice guy. And here you can see the matchup. Seems like the game is trying to tell us that this one is going to go Kapten's way. But what are you thinking, Gelotris? Who do you think is going to come away with it?
Yeah, numbers don't lie usually. That's a very high win rate for Kapten there, and as well
with
the
9
precision.
matches played only as well.
Yep,
That's the insane part, of course. I mean, by the end of the World League, everyone will have played around the same amount of matches. But Kirania has played almost twice the amount of matches as Kapten, yet Kapten sits 1 point ahead. He really has been playing incredibly well.
Yeah, and if I didn't see those numbers first, I would have said it's a very, very, balanced matchup, I would say. Kirania versus Kapten, I feel like they're equally skilled. So don't get fooled by these numbers.
Nope, don't get fooled at all. And why could you? Because we're going straight into game 1. And you know what I'll call it? I think we're in France.
You are right. We are in France. And France is a country where you get a lot of signs. As we saw right on spawn, you have those signs. However, usually they aren't that useful. It's usually just very small random towns. But we have a region guess down from Kirania going northwest.
It's that, very but it's far. Also the fact that you can see it says D22 on Kapten's screen right now. Just because you zoom in on the map and find D22, it doesn't mean it's the correct D22. Viewers, I make that mistake all the time, and then I remember when I make the mistake. But first, it does come through. Minimal damage down towards the southwestern side of France.
Exactly, those D numbers really only help if you have a smaller region down and have a region guess already. But besides that, it's also a pretty hard country to region guess most of the times.
True.
As we just saw by them going north and south. And here we are in South Africa, it seems like. And again, a country that is, I would say, a bit easier to region guess, but still.
What regionally stands out to you here?
This should be northeast with those poles. Those are very common around Joburg and further northeast.
Let's see. Time up, Kapten. Has to put a mouse down. He does, and yeah, both in and around Johannesburg. So again, minimal damage being done here. Of course, we didn't go over how the round system works, and it's really pretty simple. You play up to 10 rounds in case no player has gone down to 0 health by the time round 10 has been reached. It's the player with the most points left. I say health points, call it what you want. It's the person with the most health left that wins the round. But also, as you can see on the right side, it says damage times 2. There is a multiplier that's being increased by every single round. So the later into the game we go, the more it's going to hurt here. And round number 3 is Kapten. It's going to be the first one to get his guess down.
Yeah, he has his guess down in Sao Paulo, pretty much in the center of the state. Kirania is a bit more east. Not too far away from each other, however, Kapten is almost right on it. And that will be 1.5k damage.
Yeah, big chunk of damage come through, even though they are in and around the same area when it's a country that big. Brazil does tend to pull some teeth out. Now over to a very beautiful, that's incredibly beautiful as a matter of fact, location here as Kapten. Did he get sent down onto the bridge? I think they both did there.
Yeah, they both reset it quickly. We are in Taiwan here. Somewhere in a valley. Those palm trees, you usually see it more in the south, but not necessarily. So also mountains in the west is something you don't see too often in Taiwan. That means we are more likely to be in the eastern side of the country, because the west is very flat. Yeah. So as a region guess, I would say we are somewhere east or southeast in Taiwan. Not a very big country, but still.
I was gonna say, it's pretty fun to me that players tend to take their time on Taiwan, but then when you go South Korea, they just plonk it, you know? It's like, but this is equal in size, or I mean, maybe even a bit smaller. I'm actually not completely sure. But here, taking their time, it runs all the way down the clock, and it's gonna wait. Kirania with the 5K to start off the day.
In the right well, he had a little bit of a smile on him. I don't know if he was expecting that, but that's
I mean, he had the water.
Guess.
And the bridge well, wow. Of course, I mean, for the viewers out there who are maybe new to watching this, first of all, welcome. We love having you here. Secondly, a 5K is the maximum points you can get in a round. It's within, I mean, I guess 180 some meters of the exact location. That is incredible, Kirania.
Definitely. Taiwan also has a lot of valleys that look alike. Therefore, good on him getting the right valley down here. And we are in Mexico now. A bit deserty, which tends to be more in the north, northwest, northeast. And we are in Coahuila, pretty far north there. And Kirania gets rewarded for committing that far north.
You can see Kapten, I mean, in the very last second, he kind of flicked over to the right, but then went back again. Had he gone right, I mean, he would still lose the round, but there would have been a lot less points lost on his part. And you can see that's why he was like, a little frustrated that it didn't stick with the guess as we now head to Colombia. Colombian cross. Yeah. I get that.
Colombian cross, Colombian fence, both on the screen. However, another country that's pretty hard to region guess without clues. So let's see if they get to the right information they need. Or if it will come to a vibe guess. And we have a road number here. The first two letters on this 4-digit number underneath will tell us the road number. In this case, it is the 45. It's a pretty long highway. Therefore,
it does seem that way. Yeah, Kirania is quite a bit further towards the north, still moving his mouse around a little bit, but it's going to be Kapten. Wow, instantly locked it in before 7 kilometers off. A ton of damage come through, sends Kirania down to just 800, but he was very quick to lock in the exact location too.
Yeah, that's a strategy that's usually pretty good in moving games. Soon as you have a little bit of information, only if it's the right road number. Sometimes it's just paying off to get the guess down immediately, rather than getting even closer.
Did they get the city off of the sign there? Does it say Novosibirsk on that sign?
I assume so. It's pretty small, but I think it's
Novosibirsk in
the
bottom
center
line, yeah.
bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. That's what I like about Google Maps. The fact that they not only write it in our letters, but the other ones as well. So you can actually, even if you don't speak the language, you can just look at the text and then look at the map and go, okay, there it is. So good on them. Good on them.
In a couple countries, indeed, and we are back in South Africa. Let's see what information we get here this time. For now, I don't see any region-specific clues. However, we have a lot of signs.
4.5 times multiplier, and Kapten is quick to guess, barely even zooms in, just plonks it into Johannesburg.
Yeah. Does make sense. As I said, we had a lot of signs, a lot of information. I don't know if they saw something that was telling that region, but it was for the west, and I think we had that town name given, but I didn't know it, and neither did they.
Yeah.
If Kapten knew that one, that could have been game.
I was gonna say, but I feel like it's scary times. I know he's got a lot of points left, but that can be very deceiving in rounds like these, as the 5 times multiplier now. I mean, you only have to be a couple of kilometers out off of your opponent, and that's a lot of damage come your way, as Kirania now tries to change the pace up a bit here.
Yeah, we are back where we started, in France, and again, it's coming down to a region guess. We don't really have any clues given besides that. No town names, no nothing.
Sending it into the middle. Kirania is going to come out on top, but Kapten playing it smart here, staying afloat as we now make our way into round number 10. Kirania is down by 1,600, make that 1,700 points. He needs to surpass Kapten here. Kapten needs to end below him in this round in order for him to win it.
Yeah, we are in the final round, and we see Kirania not moving at all. He has to try to get this pressure on with him being lower on health. To turn the game around, he's committing pretty fast south.
Ooh.
I like that guess.
I was gonna say, it's a very north to south road here.
In the right region, so let's see where it turns out being. Will Kirania turn it around here?
There's a bit of distance in between them. Let's see who's going to get it. They're both off by quite the margin. But nonetheless, it's going to be Kapten out victorious, sends Kirania down. And that is going to be him taking the moving round over Kirania. So Kapten 1, Kirania 0. As we now make our way into no move.
Yeah, and I can't blame them for going that far south. It's only a couple of roads that can look like the south in the middle. So in this case, if either of them knew it, preferably, of course, Kirania, as he was low on health, he could have turned it around there. But yeah, first game goes to Kapten, and we go over to no move.
No move indeed. And again, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory with the name, but as you can see here, you can spin around, you can zoom in and out, but you only get to stay in place. So if there's a little sign a little bit further up the road you can see but can't quite make out, well, too bad for you, you can't get any closer to it.
Nope, you can't. And we are in a location where there's nothing to work with, really. We are somewhere in the plains of the US. Looks a bit midwestern, but Kirania has a little bit more of a southern vibe. Down there on the Mississippi border to Arkansas, and it was Texas, actually.
Yeah, all the way down in Texas. Minimal damage done here. Early days in round number 1. No multipliers added just yet. As we now make our way into round number 2. What do we have here? What do we got to work with?
We have a double yellow center line, which sends us to the Americas. In this case, it should be Brazil.
One big turn. Now it's all foliage. And is there anything that stands out to you here?
Not really.
Specifics?
Not really. I don't see anything. Brazil is known to be hard to region guess on locations like this.
So now you're just
however, Kapten is going very far east, and he is correct with that. I don't know what he used to get that. Especially with a fairly flat landscape. That's very unusual on the eastern coastline.
He was quick about it too.
Yeah. He saw something, he knew something. I'm not sure what it was.
Yet another location out in the wilderness, but this time around at least they get some electricity poles. But is there any info on there that could give them the info as to the region?
Those poles are very commonly found in South Kalimantan. Those rusty looking poles, a bit thinner, also with the metal possum guard. It was actually in central Kalimantan, right over the province border.
Nonetheless, impressive start for Kapten here as we make our way into round number 4. Hits home once again. Still sits, I mean, now around 2,000 health ahead as we head into yet another big country.
So we are indeed back in Russia. Is that a mountain range? No, that's surely just clouds. Hopefully.
Could fate you, yeah, could fate you.
Mountain ridge like this is pretty unusual in Russia, but they are both pretty far east into the country. I should say central. Is that central? Is it east? Because most of the stuff in Russia happens in the west. There's only a bunch of cities in the...
Wait, is he actually lining up a 5K, Kapten?
Yeah, they are both in the same city, however...
That would have been amazing. It's a tie, 4998. Do we have a tie emote on Twitch? I'm not sure we do. I hope that we do though, because I love it when it happens. Cling! They just go straight up to one another.
Not sure, but yeah, that's pretty satisfying if you get it from both sides. We have, is that MT? So yeah, that should be Mato Grosso if that's an MT abbreviation on that road marker.
Quick info for the viewers out there: you can zoom out long enough on the map so you just see the abbreviations as well when you're playing Brazil. I had to learn that the hard way. But, okay, Kirania hits home here in Brazil. Could be pretty big points. 1,400 at that. Gonna get things closer to tied here now, making our way into round number 6.
Yes, I don't think there are a lot of regions within Mato Grosso where you get a mountain ridge like that. So knowing the terrain in Mato Grosso really helped out there. Because usually it's just a bit more flat. Move over to this round. I'm not sure here. It should be Malaysia.
Oh, there's a difference. The distance in between them.
Maybe it is actually Indonesia. I mean, the white lines are a bit more common in Malaysia, but you get them also on Indonesia from time to time. In this case, it wasn't. Kirania is.
This could have been massive. I mean, this is
like
one
he
of
was
those
closer,
rounds.
but
This is one of those rounds that both of the guys are gonna be looking back at, going, "Oh, that's where I could have had him. Like that's where I could have won this round." Because both of them off by quite a bit, as we now get yet another round out in the open.
Indeed, and I'm trying to find the right information. I don't see much. We have a concrete pole. Again, it's more likely to be in Malaysia than in Indonesia, those concrete poles. Usually you will find some stickers on them. In this case, we don't. Therefore, these players will take their time to double check if it actually is Malaysia. We have a Langkawi Island. Yes, from Kirania. He didn't send it yet, but he is hovering on it with his pin.
I like the commitment. Now it's shifting off
on both sides. On both sides. Kapten is all the way on the east coast.
Yep. 4 times multiplier. This could hurt quite hard. 2,700 health on the side of Kirania. Doesn't want to get this one wrong, but locks in anyway. Up on the border towards Thailand. Let's see what Kapten goes through. It stays out towards the east coast. And not rewarded. Both of them off again, and it's the same island once more that bamboozles them.
Yeah, now in hindsight, you look back and say, oh, there was no sticker on the pole. So the Borneo Island is more likely without a sticker on the pole, but it can definitely also happen on mainland. Therefore, no one to blame here as we move over to this next round, which is again somewhere in the plains, but this time it should be in Argentina.
What tells you Argentina? Is it all and like all electricity poles?
The poles, yes, those A-frame poles, I want to call them. Those concrete A-frame poles. But also the vegetation, those white spiky flowers. Very commonly found, especially in the Buenos Aires province. But I could see it being a bit more north-northwest.
Do you think GeoGuessr creates biologists or like geologists? With how much you learn about nature and landscape, maybe people get a passion for it by playing GeoGuessr.
It could. I mean, I definitely learned way more about vegetation playing this game.
Exactly.
Than I expected to a couple years back.
Yeah. Let's see now, both of them taking the time. Kirania does log it in with a couple of seconds left. Kapten letting the time run out. But they are, once again, in and around the same area. Both almost equally far from it. Just 50 damage done as we make our way now into round number 9.
And from now on, Kapten only needs to be decently close with how much health he has of an advantage. However, it's not that easy in a round like this. I want to say the default guess here is maybe somewhere in the southeast United States.
Is it the pavement type or like the asphalt?
I would say the vegetation, primarily in this location. We have those, what you call southern pines. But yeah, besides that, you look at the pavement quality. Also, of course, the Google car not being visible is also something that's very commonly found in the United States. And if you combine those 3 clues, there's really not much left, and we are actually in South Carolina there.
Just on the border between that and Georgia, and it's going to be enough for Kapten to bring home game number 2, making the swift 2-0. I say swift, it almost went 10 rounds twice. So a head-on-head match, but Kapten comes out victorious 2-0 against Kirania.
Yeah, and the numbers actually